Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday. So here's your video. This is just me explaining your little lab activity for you, okay? So you guys saw the assignment today. This is like the pre-draft version of it before I post it because I'm making this video that will be posted down here as well, okay? But you should have already done the concept check, and with that was the video note. So make sure that you watched that video notes with that concept check. It was linked in the concept check. I'm also going to link it to the assignment as well, so you can get that section of video notes in both spots. Okay. So now that's done, and you are on to investigation 4A, which is pages 5 and 6 in your interactive notebook. I also have the digital version here for those of you that would prefer that. Okay. And I'm just going to outline this activity, this lab, a little bit. It's a little different than most labs. And the main way that it's different is this lab, instead of us giving you the instructions, you're creating the instructions. I give you the goal. Okay. Your goal is to calculate how fast you or a partner can walk. Okay? And once you have that goal, you got to figure out how to do it. And I'm not going to tell you. I will ask you some questions here that will kind of help you out with that, but I'm not going to tell you how to do this. Okay. So you are going to predict the speed of a person or your partner or you. Okay. And then the second part says, can you walk a specific speed? We're not going to do that, actually. I'm going to say no big deal there. Okay. So hopefully you watch this video so you know not to do part 2. All right. So if you did this assignment in your interactive notebook, your assignment looks slightly different. This one is digitized, right? And you'll notice that there's a couple discussion questions that I crossed out. And I also moved the very bottom question up to here. So I did a little bit of moving around for the digital assignment. Part 6, discussion. Now that you've done this idea, blah, 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 those 2 questions, not doing them. The last question we are, so I moved it up here on the digital assignment. Again, hopefully you're watching this video so you don't need to do as much work. Okay. So anyway, you are going to be measuring constant speeds today. Really what we're measuring is average speed. You're going to do your best to walk at a constant speed, and you're going to figure out what that walking speed is. This means that the person who's walking will not change their speed as you collect that data. In the first part of the activity, we want you to predict or estimate you or your partner's walking speed in meters per second. So how fast can you or your partner walk? And we want you to guess that in meters per second. I have meter sticks laid out in the front of the room. So if you want to estimate that based on just 1 meter, you certainly can. I mean, a meter is going to be just over 3 feet, about 39 inches is a meter for those of us that are used to feet. So you have to predict now how many meters per second you or your partner can walk. If you're at home, you got to find a way to measure out meters. You may have a tape measure at home that likely measures in feet. So you might have to do a little bit of converting in there to figure out exactly how many meters equals a foot or inches equal a meter, whatever. Okay. So first task, make a prediction. Second task, come up with your procedure. Now, a few things that I look for as a teacher in this procedure. I look for you. If we're going to do this, any experiment, we have our independent variable and our dependent variable, right? So in this case, we want to figure out how fast you are walking, right? Speed, you've learned, has 2 parts. Speed is equal to the distance you move divided by the time it takes you to cover that distance. Okay, so distance divided by time. When we're doing our lab, that means that one of those has to be fixed. You have to know one of those, and you are going to measure the second. I've seen some people measure out a certain distance and say, I'm going to walk 3 meters each time, and see how long it takes me. I've seen some people say, I'm going to walk for 5 seconds and measure how long that takes me, or measure how far I walk during that time. Okay. Either way, one of those has to be set. Either your distance or your time must be set, and the other one is what you are measuring. All righty. So one of them would be the independent, one of them would be the dependent. And honestly, it doesn't matter which one. Personally, I think that measuring the distance is the easier way to do it. And then just having a stopwatch for how long it took you to walk that distance. Okay. Don't do any absurd distances. I'd say definitely keep your distances under 10 meters. That would probably be the max. You don't need to walk more than that for this assignment. 1 meter is kind of tough. You're not going to get as good of results with that. So I like anywhere from like 3 to 10 meters is kind of the sweet spot for the distance there. And then you just time how long it takes. Okay. Once you have that procedure written out, and make sure you're specific. Okay. Highlight equipment that you need, all that stuff, right? So make sure you're highlighting that, and you'll put that procedure in this table here. Okay. Now, when it comes to recording that data, you'll see it says insert your own data table here. So that means that you got to insert a data table, and that data table needs to work with your procedure. So I would just show you here, I hit an enter, and I'm going to insert a table, and that table could be, it has to depend on my procedure. If my procedure calls for me to do 5 trials, then I need to make sure that my procedure or that my data table matches that. Okay. If I were to do a data table, so let's say I'm going to say do 3 trials. I'm going to make this here, okay, and I'll just kind of go with what I have. So right here is going to be, let's see, my distance. So I'm going to say I'm going to walk 5 meters. I'm going to do this 3 different times and get my times. Okay. So my distance equals 5 meters. Okay. Here's going to be trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. And this is just a very generic one. Okay. And now in here, I'm going to include the time it took me to cover these distances. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to delete these, delete that column, but I'm going to insert a column to my right here. So I've got my trials. I'm going to have my average time here, and then I'm going to calculate my speed. So average speed, which is distance divided by time. Okay. So my trials would then be, I have my average, my time for each one, my average time, and my average speed. If I have a partner, okay, then I would just insert a row below, and I would keep track of their data as well. Okay, so that's how I would kind of create that data table. Now yours will look different depending on how you set yours up. Okay. Now, as we keep going, data collection, you're going to record your data up above. That's you doing the lab. The last part then is data processing. And with the data processing, we are finding this percent deviation. Okay. And with that percent deviation is this equation that we're going to use. So you're going to take your actual speed minus what you predicted divided by your predicted and multiply all that by 100. What we're figuring out is how far off were you from your guess. Your guess was this. What was your actual speed? Okay. And then you'll put that percentage in here. And then the last question is, what are some difficulties that may have led to your percent deviation? Okay. So that's what we are looking at. That's what I wanted you to answer for these. Okay. I'm going to delete my work here, my data tables and all that stuff. But I wanted you to see all of that so that you had a pretty good plan for today's lab. Okay. Work with each other, get some help. Feel free to message me with questions. I can't promise that I'll get back to you right away, but we can certainly go over these on Wednesday when I am back. Okay. Have a great day, guys, and we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.